All right. We are hanging at the luxurious Babcox Garage Studios. We got the car up on the lift. You can see the strut under there. What better to talk about than shocks and struts? What is a shock and what does it do? Well, a shock actually controls spring oscillations. The spring on the car controls the ride height. How does it work? Well, I got a cutaway to show you. This is pretty cool. So inside the actual shock absorber, you have two chambers. One has the fluid in it and it passes through the other chamber. It's all about the valvings, my friend. What's going on here? If you have big orifices, well, it allows for an easy ride. If you have tiny orifices, the fluid has restriction to go through, well, that's going to stiffen up the ride. Now you can also have a gas shock absorber. That's pretty cool. There would be a third chamber right here. And what that is, a little bit of gas pushing up on the hydraulics to keep that aeration from happening. Makes for a better ride. That aeration goes away and you don't have any kind of bounce or fade in the shocks. It bounces really nice. Now, what do you want to look for? You want to get out and check your shock absorbers. Well, a good visual inspection will tell you a lot when it comes to shock absorbers. First of all, you can check it for leaks. You see this one right here is all covered with goop and grease. This is actually the GM's MagneRide, which is pretty cool. It's an electronic shock, but it's still leaked nevertheless. Once it starts doing that, well, the fluid's coming out of it. It's going to bounce and jounce really, really bad. Over here, when we switch our gears a little bit, we look at a strut assembly. Now, a strut's nothing more than a shock absorber with the spring built into it. A couple things to look for here. Look for your bushings, your bottom bushings, your top bushings, your upper strut mounts. That's this guy right here. What happens is this is bolted to the actual frame of the car up there. So when the spindle turns to the right or left, this is going to have to rotate as it moves. So once these start to grind and grab, you'll hear it start to pop. You have a problem with that up there. Now another thing, you may have an internal rattle inside the shock absorber. You might just want to take the car, go off-road a little bit onto the side of the road, and I showed you all that valving earlier. If any of that's loose inside of the shock, you won't be able to physically see that, but you'll hear that clunk or that rattle once you get off the road, you'll hear that. So check your bushings, check for leaks, check the springs. If you have a ride height problem, well, that's going to be a spring problem. Now, a couple other things you can do. It's called a jounce or bounce test. Just go out, put one knee on your bumper and push down on your car. It should bounce, rebound, bounce, and come back maybe 1.5 times too. If it's bouncing like a baby buggy, it's time to replace them. One more is a dry park test. Put it on the ground, have a buddy safely turn the steering wheel to the right or to the left. You're listening for the creaking and the crackling going up there on that upper mount. You're also looking for any buckling at the same time as you're doing that. Now, shocks aren't made to last forever. I hate seeing OEM shocks in the junkyard. That means they've never been replaced. You got about 50,000 miles on them, but these tests, you can go out there and do a quick inspection and figure out what's going on. So make sure you replace them, keep your car safe, and restore that actual factory ride. I'm John Gardner from Babcox Garage Studio. See you next time.